Please welcome today's celebrities who are absolutely not at all actually filthyable.
From Sega Genesis Obscurity, did somebody say kitchen guy?
From the Nintendo Switch launch game you never played, it's Neverclips Guy.
Harder to understand than me, it's Bane.
From high-profile vaporware, it's Milo.
Bruce Campbell's friend, Sam Raimi.
From the greatest snack food commercials of all time, Macho Man Randy Savage.
From the pits of eternal damnation, Satan.
From Goosebumps, Escape from Horrorland, Jeff Goldblum.
And from the center square, it's Phil. Just Phil and me. I am Greg Fordbot, replacement of Dormerbot, who tragically busted at level 69.
And me, I'm Rich Grisham, and this is the new Hollywood, the Player One Squares.
And now your host,
Chris Baker.
Thank you, Rich. Here we are today, celebrating 700 episodes of the Player One podcast with an amazing episode of Player One Squares. Today I have my contestants here, Chris Johnston, Greg Stewart. That's all you need to know about them, really.
It's great to be here, Chris.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
pleasure is all yours.
As always, this game's all about tic-tac-toe. Up, down, left, right, diagonal, however
BABA start.
Oh, who is that? Who just said that?
That was me. That was Phil. It was Phil. From the center square, it's just Phil doing a voice.
Okay. So before the show, we figured out who would go first, and that is Mr. Greg Stewart. So, Greg, Pick a square.
I'm going to go for the center square, just Phil.
Smart move.
Just Phil.
I'm clearly the best.
Phil,
yes.
On several occasions, you have boasted of the success of a YouTube video that you posted 9 years ago, featuring 12 minutes of gameplay from the Jack-specific plug-and-play classic SpongeBob SquarePants Dilly Dabbler. Within 500,000, how many views did it have as of February 20th, 2020?
Well, that it's a little-known fact. That's actually the most watched YouTube video of all time. Not true. PewDiePie. I don't know if you've ever heard of that guy. He wishes he had numbers as high as my Dilly Dabbler. And
Dilly Dabbler.
My Dilly Dabbler dillied and dabbled in at 6,700,000 views.
Greg, do you agree or disagree?
I'm going to say that's false.
O gets the square. It is 5.3 million views right now.
I'll take Sam Raimi.
Oh, welcome.
Sam Raimi.
Hello there, everyone. It's good to see you. How are you? Yes, Pat.
You know a thing or two about superhero movies.
I do. I've directed all of them.
Years ago, I myself, I told the hosts of Player One that I had seen a big blockbuster movie before it came out.
Oh, was it one of my films?
What film was it?
I understand you love the superhero movies.
I've got an interest.
I also understand that you love the Star Warriors movies about the space travelers through time and the universe. So, I know you invited me here because I am the director of the Spider-Man from Beyond the Moon. But I think you're trying to trick us. Because the movie that you saw instead was the Star Warriors episode number 3. Look out! The Sith are coming!
Chris Johnston, what do you think?
I'm going to say that's false.
It is true that I saw that early. However, I did not discuss that on the Player One podcast. What I talked about was the Avengers.
But I'm still right.
The Avengers.
I'm Sam Raimi. I know everything. I can see into your mind's eye.
Yes.
Greg Stewart.
I'm going to go with Bane.
Oh, yes. Hello there, Gregory. Nice to see you again.
Bane.
Yes.
There's a friend of the show named Randy Maw, hacker alias Demonic Murray.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure you know him quite well because he works in DC's gaming department.
Yes, Washington, D.C. makes the best games.
Which Twitter hacker alias did he hold onto before the actual host possessed it himself?
Ah, that's very interesting question. And I think that it might be, well, possibly Dormerbot. I know he was very active on social media back in the day. But it was probably Whimsical Phil.
Greg.
I'm going to disagree.
Bane is correct.
Of course.
Randy held on to Whimsical Phil because he knew Whimsical Phil's Steam name, and because he was a fan of the show, he didn't want anyone else to get it. So
that was awfully nice of him.
Very considerate.
Square. Chris Johnston.
I'm going to have to go Jeff Goldblum.
I think you're a terrible person.
That's
for the win.
Yeah.
Hello. It's nice to see you today. Yes, very much. Yes, I'm delighted to be here. This is very good. Very good. Yes,
Jeff. We know you're a huge fan of cooking. You did a Funny or Die. It was Cooking with Jeff Goldblum.
Absolutely. I love to chop and broil. Just those two.
Just those two things.
Yes.
Well, we have a special guest here today.
Oh, very good.
Ask you a question.
Please ask away.
Hey, Player One podcast pals. First of all, congratulations on 700 episodes of varying quality. Anyway, I was just sitting here drinking a delicious homemade milkshake, and it made me think of a question. You know, back when I was a host of that podcast, I introduced you to a cookbook that focused on a very exotic ingredient. You remember the name of that cookbook?
Yes, I do seem to recall that particular book of recipes, and this ingredient of yours is one of which I am very familiar, having experienced it quite frequently in my younger days. The book in question, of course, was dubbed Natural Harvest.
I'm going to say that that's true.
That is true. Chris Johnson. Number one.
Yes.
We'll be back after these messages.
Yes.
Oh,
very.
Wait. We have messages?
Coming soon to the Player One Afternoon. Right after Chuck and Dale, Texas Rangers.
Life is like a fairy tale here in Duckland. Cool cars, monsters, spaceships. It's a duck place. You might see your friends and go to the mall. Duck stories, ooh yeah. Tales of super adventure and mean dudes, ooh yeah. And there's lots of other stuff that's awesome. Hey there are people who are going to find and eat you. What to do, just look out for them duck stories. Hey yeah, tales of super adventure and mean dudes, okay. And there's lots of other stuff that's awesome. Woohoo! Not people tales or commie snails, but duck stories, ho hey!
Welcome back to Player One Squares, everybody. Round two, as always, is the secret square game.
Oh.
Rich, tell them what they'll win.
Huh? They win something? There are prizes here? No one told me that. Oh, geez, I don't know. Here's a coupon for Applebee's. 10% off, expired last week. Here is a copy of the video game Anticipation. I'll send it to him, so long as he pays the postage.
For the audience at home, let's take a look right now. Who's the secret friend? Chris Johnston, your turn.
Let's take Milo. Haven't heard from Milo.
Milo.
Hello there. Nobody's heard from me in quite some time, you know. What with my game sort of being non-existent and whatnot.
Milo, you kind of look like the kid version of this guy, whom we all miss very much.
What? So that's the Milo question? That little brat. Oh, oh, hello. I didn't see you there. Greetings, Player One podcast ears. And Milo, you delightful rapscallion, you. Old co-host and friend of the show, Greg. I miss Greg Ford. Ford here with a question for you. But first, congratulations on 700 episodes. Speaking of, how many of those 700 did I... You know what? Let's not make this about me. Instead, I want to focus on one of the funnier moments I remember from recent years, featuring Phantom of the Show, Ethan Einhorn. Now, he had recently purchased the HTC Vive and was working through the early VR games. One that he enjoyed in particular was a sci-fi shooter in which a player fights off waves of enemies that kind of look like those endoskeletons from the Terminator series. Anyway, upon hearing the name of this game, Phil joked that that was also the name of his Star Trek The Next Generation fan fiction. What was that game?
Well, let me see here. I'm actually quite a big fan of Phil's Star Trek fan fiction. It's got all sorts of lovely stories in it, as Phil is quite a prolific fan fiction writer. Unfortunately, my father, Peter Molyneux, doesn't let me read much of them because a lot of them are a bit too erotic for me. I'm just a young lad. But I believe the one he's referring to is indeed an all ages fan fiction, and it's entitled Borg Attack.
Chris Johnston.
Borg Attack.
Borg Attack.
I'm going to say that's not correct.
X gets the square. It is Raw Data.
Raw Data. There we go.
Well, see, I couldn't read that one. That's one of the erotic ones.
But I want to hear from somebody we haven't heard from yet, so I'm gonna pick Snippy.
Oh,
Snippy!
snip, snippity, clippy. Hey, Greg, you got any cut it out together with me? Clippity, snippity.
Treat me right, Snippy.
I always treat everybody right when I'm cutting them. Clip to the snip. Hard to ad-lib for a character who just says snippy clippies.
So, Snippy.
Yeah, that's me.
This question comes from Joshua, hacker alias Joshua Smith. I believe his actual name is Joshua Smith, fan of the show.
He should have been named Joshua Snips. Snippy Clippies. That's my gimmick.
You know something about Nintendo system launches, Snippy?
Of course, I was there for the most recent Clippy Snip.
Indeed.
Snip.
What was CJ and Phil's major complaint about the Wii U Day One experience?
Oh, everybody knows that the big problem with the Day One experience on Wii U was no snipper clips. Cut it out together. Clippity snippity. Clip.
Only we had known that at the time.
Clip, cherry. A snippity clippy is clippy for me. Clip. This character sucks. But for realsies, their big problem with the experience was that you couldn't arrange the games in folders.
I'm going to disagree.
O gets the square. Spending over an hour installing a Day One software update.
I feel like we haven't heard from Satan. So let's go ahead.
Ouch! Damn time!
Satan.
Yes.
Oh, that's him.
We have got a hot guest for the Lord of Hellfire right now.
Greetings, Satan. This is Mike Nelson. When I'm not doing your bidding by lighting myself on fire, I listen to the Player One podcast and have been doing so since Greg Ford was fourth chair. Way back in episode 600,
I came upon the idea of re-listening to the entire show in order from episode 0. Can you guess how long it took for me to listen to the entire show up until that point? Was it A, 100 days, B, 200 days, C, 300 days, or D, 400 days?
Let me tell you about this guy right here. Haha, this guy. This Mr. Nelson. One of my favorite sinners. Oh, what a deliciously hoary denizen of the underworld this guy is. Lit himself on fire just to be more like his hero, me, the devil. He's the best. And then to put himself through a personal hell by listening to the Player One podcast all the way through. This guy loves torture, and to inflict it on himself? I got a place for him down in my kingdom of the damned, let me tell you. But to listen to all of that, all those podcasts, now see, I would have guessed 69 days. Because of the sexual connotations of that number. But I'm going to say that he was able to clear all of those awful shows in a mere 200 days.
I'm going to go ahead and agree.
Smart move!
O gets the square. 300 was the correct answer.
Prince of Lies! I warned you, Prince of Lies!
I got to go with Phil for the win.
Phil.
Yes, sir.
Whose last episode as a co-host was number 244?
Well, it definitely can't be Ethan, because I swear Ethan's was around for like 1,000 episodes. 244. Don't need no more. You know what? That's got to be Dan Dormer.
I'm going to disagree.
O gets the square and the win. 244 was Greg 40 Ford.
Look at that. Look at that. We planned it that way.
We'll be back after these messages. There was no secret square.
Who was the secret square?
Oh no, I forgot to do it.
Hey there, folks. I'm Glade Pitchman here. How's your home smell? Pretty rank, I bet. But Glade plugins will make it smell tip-top. Plug it in, plug it in.
Their ketchup's coming out a lot slower than ours does.
Don't be stupid, Corey. That's not ketchup.
It is ketchup, and a video game.
So much better than Blaster Baster.
Anticipation. Now you're playing with power. Word power.
As always, round 3 is
As always, round 3 is where we play as NES avatars of ourselves. Greg has a little more hair. And speaking of Greg, it's your turn, Captain Canada.
All right, well, he's looking pretty lonely down there in the bottom left, so I'm going to go with Macho Man.
Oh, yeah.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
I'm really glad you chose me, Greg, especially right after Phil was doing the Satan voice. I mean, after Satan was talking, oh, yeah. Because my voice is really raspy, too. And it doesn't hurt at all, brother.
You ready, Macho Man?
Then we got a question for you.
Bored?
Macho Man, you seem to really like words that start with M-A, Macho Man. How many Mario games have been released on consoles during the many, many years the guys have been doing this show? Original games only, not counting ports or re-releases. Is it more than, equal to, or less than 10?
The Macho Man plays a lot of Mario games. And it was certainly less than, fewer than 10.
You're quite the grammarian there.
I am the king of the ring and the king of grammar.
Rick Stewart, is it less than 10?
I'm going to disagree.
It is 10 exactly.
Oh.
So O gets the square.
Never go wrong picking Macho Man.
You can snap into the right answer, I guess.
Chris Johnston.
Another square we haven't heard from this game. I'll go Skitchin Guy.
Oh, did somebody say Skitchin?
Well, I'm ready to
skitch. Yes, sir. That's a
We have a question for you from our very own co-announcer, Rich Grisham.
Hey there, Skitchin Guy. You may or may not remember in episode 500 of the Player One podcast, so many years ago, I did a very, very, very long-winded introduction, which included me giving a snarky introduction to everybody's favorite person, Ethan Einhorn, in which I compared him to the bass player of what band when they accepted their awards to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame about 4 days after that bass player joined the band. Do you remember who that was?
Well, let's see here. The band that he was referring to is the most bitchin' band around. That, of course, is the band that recorded the song Spicy Placenta, one of the classics on Skitchin for Sega Genesis. That's a real song, everybody. Look it up.
It's a real song.
It's a real song off the Skitchin soundtrack. Look it up. But I know that's not the band. It was Green Day.
That's not correct.
Metallica. X gets the square.
There you go.
Yes.
The square.
Skitchin.
Thank you, Skitchin Guy.
You're bitchin'. Skitchin is bitchin', I guess.
We're gonna try to get some more squares in here. So I'm gonna go to Sam Raimi.
Sam?
Yes.
We have a special question here for you from a
Is
fellow
it from Bruce?
From a fellow auteur.
Hey P1P crew. The last time I was on the show, you guys let me talk about a new game that I'd released. And CJ asked me if I was actually afraid of this event that my game was based around. What event was that?
Oh, I understand. Benjamin Rivers, of course, is a fantastic video game maker. He makes the games that people want to play. And, of course, the only reason that he's asking me, Sam Raimi, Hollywood actor and director and film star and film creator, this question is because this particular game is inspired by one of the events that happens in one of my many Spider-Man films. I refer, of course, to the Spider-Man, Look Out, We're Coming Home, where the Spider-Man goes to a school dance at his homecoming. He made a game about scary homecomings.
I'm going to disagree.
High School Reunion.
Yes.
That's
right.
Gets the square.
I must be thinking of the wrong guy. Is this the guy who made Fez?
So I think I'm gonna go with Bane up there in the right.
Ah, can't stay away, can you?
No.
Who can blame you? I mean, look at me.
Bane.
Yes.
I would say that you are quite the household name.
Of course I am.
But what guest host on Player One Podcast once described a guest host as a household name? And who was it?
Describing one of the guests as a household name. Now let me think here. There have been many guests on this show over the years. But only one is a true hero to the people, known the world over. And I think you're trying to be a little tricky here, Christopher. Mr. Baker. Because that household name is you.
So you're saying I said that I was a household name?
And why wouldn't you? You're an egotistical brat.
Chris Johnston.
I'm going to go ahead and disagree with that.
X gets the square. It was our good friend Kenneth Slim Miller.
I have to go for a block, so he can't go for the win, so I have to go with Snippy.
So Snippy.
Yes.
I'm going to give you 4 episode titles in the history of the Player One podcast. I need you to tell me, I need you to clip out, if you will, the bogus one. A, I can't believe it's on television. B, it all comes down to Jabberjaw. C, sweaty briefs of a fallen soldier. D, Puppy Bowl Sunday.
Here's a little trivia about Snippy Clippy Guy. You know what I used to do? Before I was the star of the video games?
What was that, Snippy?
I would do brisses.
Wow. Which do you prefer?
Same name. I like to do both at the same time if I can. Well, those are good titles. I know these fellows like to talk about puppies, and I know they love crappy old Hanna-Barbera cartoons. So those two are definitely in. I'm going to say I can't believe it's on television. Snip, snip.
I can't believe it's on television. Greg, you agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Oh, gets the block. It all comes down to Jabberjaw was the fake title.
I'll just go, just Phil.
Phil.
I'm right here. Yes, sir.
This one comes from me, specifically.
Oh, you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
In my first appearance on the show.
Yes.
We discussed my very specific editorial responsibilities for the All Game Guide, where I got my start in the industry. You found some of my old work and quoted it back to me. Good luck, you're gonna need it.
Oh, okay.
What game was this?
Maybe that Jar Jar's game? What was that Jar Jar game? No, you know what? The game you were talking about was the NES Ninja Gaiden.
I think I'm gonna have to disagree.
X gets the square. It was Star Wars Arcade for 32X.
All right.
That's a Star Wars quote.
Always blocking.
Jeff Goldblum.
For
the block.
Jeff Goldblum here to block the win.
Jeff.
Good. Yes.
I believe you said in a movie once.
Yeah, I did.
That quality of life finds a way. We've got a special guest with a question about that.
Yes.
I quit.
Hey guys, there was a time on the show where I was talking really excitedly about having made an upgrade that dramatically adjusted my quality of life. What was that upgrade?
Yes, of course.
Many things to choose from.
That of course, was the webcam that he put at that particular angle to let us see. I'm being facetious, of course. No, the item that Mr. Einhorn purchased to be improving his quality of life. Yes, life. Yes, life is great. And
Jesus.
And it is grand and glorious. It is a thing that we all have and in common. Of course, this miracle, of life is amazing. I am. It was a memory card for a Switch.
I agree.
O gets the square. Yes, 400 gigs, but I'll give it to you.
Well, I think I'm gonna have to block. With Satan.
Oh, Christopher.
Yeah?
Christopher. Crucify Jesus himself.
Oh.
Did you expect to have your life, your very fate, in the devil's hands? Because here we are.
I kind of figured it would come down to that, yeah.
Yes, it's in Revelations.
Satan.
Yes.
I would think that if anyone out there knows anything about zombies, it's you.
Yes. Why?
What game series?
Why would you think that?
What game series also involving...
I don't have zombies in hell, I have demons. Zombies are the undead. They're not in hell.
Don't you have something to do with it, though?
Why would I? No, that's a different department.
Who handles that?
I don't know.
You don't know the logistics of zombies?
Look, I go in, I do my job, I go home. Okay? I don't deal with these other departments.
9 to 5.
Yeah.
Quality of life.
I have a life too.
Well, that's a little disappointing, I gotta say. But, okay, so what game series also involving a bunch of real-life dead dudes, well, dead now anyway, what game series did I compare Left 4 Dead to in my very first appearance on the show?
Real-life dead people.
Yes.
That's gross. Gross and disrespectful, and I love it.
I thought, all right. It's
deliciously.
It's good we're seeing eye to eye again there, Satan.
Deliciously evil. I love it. You were comparing the Left 4 Dead because there are 4 of those people in that game. Left 4 Dead. To the most famous group of dead 4 people in the world. And that is, of course, the Beatles.
I did say what game involving a bunch of real
The Beatles rock band.
Okay.
Why do you always give them these easy ones?
I'm very confused by this question.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but Jesus Christ, help me out here. You thought I'd be asking that jerk for help, but here we are. I guess we're going with Beatles rock band.
Jesus. And I'm going to go ahead and have to say that's false. I'm going to disagree.
The answer was Beatles rock band. No.
The Prince of Lies.
Dynasty Warriors is a bunch of dead real-life Chinese people.
Milo for the win.
Milo for the win.
This is for all
Hello.
the marbles.
It's finally come down to Milo. It's Milo's time in the sun. Oh, hooray, hooray. Oh, everyone doubted Milo. Everyone said, oh, Milo's never coming out. Oh, Milo's not even a real game. Oh, Milo's all pre-rendered. He's not even behaving and reacting to what's being said to him. But here I am. I'm the champion. I'm the one who's going to decide the game.
That's true.
What do you think about that, everyone? Milo says y'all can suck it.
What part of England is that accent from?
The really made up part.
Milo, are you familiar with a guy named Paul Mattingly?
Oh, I've heard him. He's one of those funny fellows who talks on the internet.
Yeah, well, he sent a question just for you.
Oh, right. What a nice lad.
Yeah.
How nice.
He asks, as the vaporware creation of a habitual liar.
That sounds like Milo.
You must know what a pathetic and sad creep you are.
Oh, of course.
You are a creep for as much time as Rockin' Robin from the Tweets intro song Rocks in the Treetop.
Oh, right.
How long are you a creep?
Oh, well, let me see here. This, of course, seems like it's dependent on me knowing
the lyrics.
Songs from 1950s American rock and roll. Why would I know that? Now, when Satan was talking about the Beatles, I understood that. I mean, I've certainly, I love them Liverpudlians quite a bit, but I don't know much about the rock and roll of the Americans. But if someone's going to be rock and rolling in a treetop, it would want to be doing it all night long, I would think.
All night long?
All night long?
Greg, what do you think?
I'm going to have to disagree.
Hello, this is Greg Fordbot. You forgot about me, did you not? Do you want to know the true reason the final round was the NES version of Hollywood Squares? It is because I killed everyone during the commercial break. You did not hear human voices. They were all Greg Fordbot. Greg Fordbot was created by enemy of the show Christopher Baker to thwart the Player One podcast. I have done so, and I have also killed Christopher Baker. The Player One podcast will go on, but it will always be Greg Fordbot. In every role, even on YouTube. For Greg Fordbot has mastered deep fakes. On that note, please enjoy every show to come. I love you all, with all of my heart. Just remember, I have no heart. Ha 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 ha. But I still love you. Really. And finally, one last thing. Have you seen my chance cube?